I'm going to work through these 5 questions one at a time, so just scroll through to whichever ones you need. In this question, we don't know what row we can refer to because this n is unknown, but we want to find out the term where we have x squared. So we need to find out what row generates that term. So let's start with looking at, it'll be n choose 2. Remember, we don't know what n is. And then our a value here and our b there. You can always switch those around if you like, but I'm going to leave it like this. It'll make it easier, and you'll see why in a minute. So 1 to the power of n minus 2, and then 2x, this term here, to the power of 2. Because remember that these two here have to add up to n, which is here. Okay? N choose 2 is n factorial over 2 factorial times n minus 2 factorial. So that is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3, etc., 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 till we get to 1. Now you might be thinking, oh, I don't really understand where that came from. So let me just remind you. Say you had 5 factorial, that equals 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 until you get to 1, and then you're finished. Okay, so that's all that I've done there. I've just taken n and then n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, and I keep going until it'll end with 1. Now underneath, you're going to have 2 factorial, so 2 times 1, and then n minus 2 factorial. So we start with n minus 2, n minus 3, n minus 4, etc., 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 until you get to 1. And now you see I can cancel out these and anything beyond. So now I'm left with n times n minus 1 over 2 times 1. So all of that will be in front of, is the coefficient in front of 1 to the n minus 2, which we don't really need to worry about because whatever it is, n is, this is always going to be 1. And then 2x, which is our other variable, squared. So that's going to look like n over n minus 1, 2 squared, x squared. Now the question told us that the term is 112x squared. Therefore, n times n minus 1 over 2 times with 4 times 4, remember that's where our 2x is, must be equal to 112. So now we've got something we can work with. So let's just cancel that out and make it 2. So now we've got 2n times n minus 1 is equal to 112. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I've got n times n minus 1 is equal to 56. Now we can form a quadratic equation. This is n squared minus n. Let's bring this over. Minus 56 is equal to 0. Now that we can definitely solve. This is a quadratic equation. If you've forgotten how to take the next step, think of this as minus 1. So you know that the roots, what we have to have is 2 numbers added together. This represents 2 different numbers. It's got to equal to -1. And these same 2 numbers multiplied together needs to equal to -56 in order for us to come up with a solution here, okay, for n. So what 2 numbers, well, let's look at this first and find out what the factors of this are. So this could be perhaps 28 times 2, not helpful. 14 times 4, not helpful. What about 7 times 8? Yes, now that looks good because it's got a difference of 1. Now we need -1, so we want the biggest number to be negative. So we'll put n minus 8 and plus 7. That is what we need. Now, which of those is going to be the correct answer? Remember, this is equal to 0, so the only possible answer is if n is equal to 8. Because n equal to -7, you can't have a -7 row, so this must be it. Must be the 8th row. So this must be, if we go back to the original equation, this whole thing must have come from 1 plus 2x to the power of 8 in order for us to get this term. And that's the answer. 8. N is 8. This question asks for the term with the x cubed. So we have to the power of 6, we want 6 choose 3, and the a value and the b value here, x cubed, and the b value 6 is going to also be to the power of 3. Why? Because remember, these two have to add up to 6. Okay, so now what does 6 choose 3? 6 choose 3 you can put into your calculator like that, or you can just simply work it out as 6 factorial over 3 factorial times 3 factorial. Remember where that comes from? That's n choose r is n factorial over r factorial times n minus r factorial. So that's 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 all over 3 times 2 times 1 times 3 times 2 times 1. 3 times 2 is 6, 5 times 4, that's 20. So now we've got 20 x cubed, 6 cubed. Multiply those together using your calculator, and that equals 216 times 20, which is equal to 4320 x cubed. So what they're asking you for is what is the coefficient. So this is the answer. They want the coefficient of the x cubed term is 4320. Whoopee! This question is quite a bit more tricky because we're asked to find the x6 term, and we've got the expansion to the power of 12, but we've got x's in our a and in our b, so that's going to be very tricky. So for example, if I just went straight to 12 choose 6, I'll notice I can't do that because I've actually got x squared. So that's no good because I'm going to end up with not what I need. I actually need to end up with x cubed, and on top of that I've also got 3 over x, my b, to consider, so that's also going to affect it. So in a situation like this, I really need to be extremely careful, and I have to think very carefully about how I'm going to do this. So that's where you need to just go straight to your general formula here. So our challenge is we don't really know what r is. We're just not sure. There's too many things involved. So let's use the general formula. The term, whichever term it is going to be our a, which is x squared, 12 minus r, and our b to r. Remembering that these two have to add up to 12, but we're not sure which term this is. So we'll have to take it from here now. So I'm now going to expand this out. I'll just put the 12r over here for now, because I'm still trying to figure out which r I need. So x squared, and remember your exponent rules, expand that out, 24 minus 2r, and then this one here we've got 3r over xr. Now, using another exponent rule, we can just subtract this from this. So we've got 12, choose r, still mustn't forget that, you've got to come back to that. So x, 24 minus 2r minus r, that's this one here, times 3r. Okay, let's move this up a bit. Continuing on, 12, choose r, keep him safe. x 24 minus 3r times 3r. Now we know that these two here have to add up to give 12. So 24 minus 3r plus r must be equal to 12. Can we do something with that? 24 minus 2r is equal to 12. Therefore, 24 minus 12 is equal to 2r. 12 is equal to 2r. R must be equal to 6. So now let's go back to our formula. 12 choose 6 is what we want now. 12 choose 6. So then we've got our x to the power of 6. And we've got our 3 to the power of 6. That's exactly what we need. Now, in case you got a little bit lost there, that's where that 6 came from, right? So now we know that. We can calculate 12, choose 6. You can put that straight into your calculator. Do you remember how to do that? You enter 12 into your calculator. Then you go to this math here, probability, and then this one. And then you enter 6, and here's your answer. So that's equal to 924 x 6. But don't forget, we've still got this 3 to the power of 6 to deal with, so we still need to multiply that into the equation. So you need to go 3 to the power of 6 times 924 to get the full value. And that works out as 673,596 x to the power of 6. And that here is your answer. That's what you were asked to find. You were asked to find the coefficient. And this is the coefficient that you needed here. This is a quick and easy one because we've only got to worry about x in the a value. So just go straight into 5, choose 3 times 3x to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 2. Remember, these have to equal this. And you can actually enter that directly into your calculator by going 5, choose 3 times 3 cubed times 2 squared. And that gives you 1080. That's the coefficient. This one was a simple one because you didn't have to worry about all these other things going on. You only had the one term with x, and that was your a. This question here, you're asked to get the x to the power of 4 term, but please be careful because this is a is already x to the power of 2. So in order to make this into x to the power of 4, you only want to have a to the power of 2. Okay, so in that case, what you're really talking about is 6 choose 2, a to the power of 2, okay, b to the power of 4. Right, that's very important because I've already got x squared as a. So then if I expand that further, I've got x squared squared, and that's what I want, okay, and then you've got negative y on 3. Don't forget this b is very important. That's to the power of 4 now. So you can put that into your calculator. 6 choose 2. You've got x to the power of 4. Negative y to the power of 4. That's just going to be positive over 3 to the power of 4. Putting 6 choose 2 into your calculator, that's going to give you 15. And that is all over 3 to the power of 4. 3 to the power of 4 is 81. But you really need to simplify this, so divide these both by 3. So then you're going to end up with 5 over 27. Okay, you still get this right, but you would miss out by not simplifying it all the way down to this point here.